In this video, I'm going to make a quick summary of modern music structuring to give you the keywords of the next videos. It is going to be a bit more theoretical, but it is important nonetheless. So, a song is made of what we call sections. The usual sections of a song are called the intro, which is the introduction part of the music, the verse, which sets up the theme of the music and progresses towards the main message of the music, which is called the chorus. There are also bridges or breaks meant to add variation to the music and renew the attention of the listener, or even make transition between different parts or newer main parts of the music. And then there is the outro, basically concluding the music. I won't go in depth in these sections right now, but case by case in the next videos. Now, genre music is driven by a long progression of elements that keeps accumulating in main part. It differs from a typical song structure because it is not bound to the way stories are told with words, and so it brings more liberty in the structuring of the music, a bit like every electronic music without words. It still relies on the previous sections I talked about, but it can greatly vary between artists. As for this schematic, it is just one of the many structures you can build, and you are mostly free to adapt and modify the energy of the track depending on the story you want to tell, while still being careful about using an objective and accessible structure. For example, this is my Xenon preferences. As you can see, it differs from the first one. I like to have the break or the bridge in the middle of the track. I like to have a huge progression during the entire track up to the outro. I have to have different type of chorus, not a repetition of a single one. I have to have a different one, like this one would be a different bass line, this one would be a different melody, and then this verse would be the introduction of these choruses, which are way different than this ones. You're really free to do what you want with this, and it will depend on your mood and the message you want to talk about and the story you want to tell. Now, genre music usually revolves around 130 and 140 BPM, beats per minute, which is a bit faster than techno, but slower than Psytrance, two genres that influence the creation of genre music. And a track usually lasts about 6 to 7 minutes. It is most of the time written in the common 4/4 time signature, which means 4 bits per bar, or more simply a kick every bit, like everyone knows, the kick every bit, with repetitions of sections of usually 4 to 16 bars, or any multiples of 2 or 4. The reason for that is that it is the standard of modern music, and that's how most of us learn about music and its structure firsthand. Making round numbers repetitions feels more complete than odd numbers. It does not mean you can't use odd numbers or odd time signature, but it will require further knowledge in music theory to make it work, and I'm mostly here to teach you the basics that will help you start your Xenon musical journey. Now, most sections, all of these, are composed of what we call phrases. A phrase is a segment of music that has a complete musical sense of its own. Put more simply, it has a natural sense of structural completeness, a beginning, a middle, and an end. For example, you might hear a synth melody or affixes or drums that repeat multiple times, and that's what a phrase is. It's like a sentence where each bit is like a word. Each phrase usually begins with a unique element, like a cymbal crash at the start of a repetition. For example, this is the beginning of one of my phrases, and that's the cymbal crash. You can hear it. That means this is the beginning of a phrase that is going to be repeated. This is like an audio cue that you can leave to your listeners so they know where they are in the track, because our brains relies on trigger. Being able to determine where we are when listening to music means we can focus our attention and immerse ourselves deeper in the music structure and elements. Once you get used to thinking about beats and phrases and their place in song structure, you'll notice that almost every popular music in the world follow the formula that we've just described. This one, or basically just any formula that is made of intro, verse, chorus, bridges, and outro. It just feels more comfortable, and it will help your creative process and storytelling. Now, ideally, a well-crafted song will create a progressive experience for the listeners, telling a story with a sense of anticipation that builds towards an emotional release, burning the song into the listener's memory. That's how it works. The song's different parts are arranged and repeated to help tell this story and make the story you want to tell progresses and evolve until it reaches an end. That's it for this video. I'm going to explain everything I just talked about further in the next ones.